Cristoph Götting. I'm a violin maker, living and working in Hampshire. I studied at the violin making college in Mittenwald in Bavaria for 3.5 years. Then I moved to Switzerland, worked in Switzerland for 1 year before coming to London. I came to London in 1969 and started work with John and Arthur Beer, one of the most famous restoring and dealing workshops in the country, and not only in the country but known worldwide. And I spent with them 21 years of restoring antique instruments, amongst them many of the famous makers of classical Italian violin making. And I did very large restorations on instruments, but always had the wish to make new instruments one day. And when I finally decided to leave Beers in 1990, Charles Beer was very kind to say that I needed to do what I really wanted to do, and reluctantly let me go because I'd become quite an important restorer in his team. I then came to Hampshire and found this granary. It's an 18th century granary, which was not derelict, but it was unused and needed complete refurbishment. It's a very comfortable place to work. It's a wonderful position with fantastic views outside overlooking the Test Valley. It's a super place to come to work. I've been working on new instruments now since 1990 and made about 70 odd instruments on my own, and was joined a year and a half ago by a young German maker who also studied in Mittenwald and make use of the varnish I've been working on for so many years and produce something really outstanding. It's necessary to exactly record what one does, because one might come across a sample from many years ago and look at it again, and the trouble with varnish is that it changes with age. And even the best varnish can only be judged really after a considerable number of years. It needs to be in use. It needs to show that it wears in the right way. It needs to show that it doesn't interfere with the sound, that the sound gets better with age. One is really working for the future. The violin is one of the very few objects that is manufactured, meaning handmade, that one has to look back into the past to improve. The violin, you really have to look back to try and get as good as the old classical makers were in Italy. The woods are very special, all mountain grown, probably all above about 1,000 meters, in order to get a dense wood that is strong and has very narrow annual grains. The maple these days comes from further and further east. No wood dealer would be able to get a maple tree from the alpine regions anymore. But the latest wood we purchased was from Romania, and that was absolutely outstanding. I'm talking about maple, mountain maple here, which is highly figured and very attractive for violin making. But all through the making, you've got highlights that make you think, yes, this will be special for this reason or for that reason, or if the varnish looks particularly nice, that's of course very rewarding. But the playing is the ultimate one, really. To hear one played by professional musicians in a concert is obviously the highest praise one could get. It's wonderful to hear one, for example, being played here in this workshop by somebody who can really play the violin, and that's a fantastic feeling.